There is a sacred rhythm to the final decade of earthly existence, a time when the veil between worlds begins to thin and the soul prepares for its greatest transition. This preparation is not random, but a carefully orchestrated spiritual process that often begins with what can only be described as an awakening call. In the twilight years of physical life, many individuals report extraordinary experiences that cannot be dismissed as mere coincidence. Dreams become more vivid and symbolic, carrying messages that seem to originate from beyond ordinary consciousness. These dreams often feature departed loved ones, unknown guides, or symbolic landscapes that feel strangely familiar despite never having been visited in waking life. The soul, in its ancient wisdom, begins to pull away from material attachments as it senses the approaching transition. This detachment is not a rejection of life, but rather a natural shifting of priorities. What once seemed critically important, career achievements, social status, material possessions, gradually loses its grip on the heart and mind. Instead, a profound sense of purpose emerges, often accompanied by an inexplicable urgency. Many describe this as feeling that there is something important they must complete before their departure, though they may not immediately understand what this task entails. This calling can manifest in various ways: a sudden interest in spiritual texts, a desire to reconnect with estranged family members, or an impulse to share wisdom accumulated over decades of living. The renowned spiritual teacher Edgar once spoke of this phase as the soul's preparation for its homecoming. His reading suggested that this period serves not only as preparation for death, but as a crucial transition phase where the soul begins to reconnect with its true spiritual nature while still embodied. During this time, synchronicities become more frequent and meaningful. A book falls open to exactly the page containing a needed message. A chance encounter leads to profound conversation. A long-forgotten memory surfaces with unexpected clarity, revealing its deeper purpose in the tapestry of one's life journey. The physical body, too, begins its own preparation. Many elders report newfound sensitivity to certain foods, environments, or energies. This isn't merely the body breaking down, but rather becoming more finely tuned to subtle energies as the density of physical existence begins to lighten. There is often a natural turning inward, a desire for quietude and contemplation that may puzzle more active friends and family members. This introspection serves an essential purpose. It creates the inner space necessary for the soul to begin reviewing its journey and preparing for transition. Those who resist this call may experience it as depression or anxiety, a sense that something is missing or incomplete. Yet those who heed it often report a renewed sense of peace and purpose, even amidst physical decline. The soul knows what it needs, and in the final decade, its voice becomes increasingly difficult to ignore. This awakening rarely happens all at once. Rather, it unfolds gradually, with moments of clarity punctuating periods of ordinary living. A brush with mortality, whether through personal illness or the death of someone close, often accelerates this process, creating what some traditions call a crack between worlds, through which spiritual awareness can enter more fully. The beautiful paradox of this awakening is that as awareness of mortality deepens, fear often diminishes. When we truly begin to understand that we are spiritual beings having a temporary human experience, the prospect of transition transforms from an ending to be feared into a doorway, to be approached with reverence and perhaps even anticipation. As this first phase of preparation unfolds, the soul gently invites its human vessel to expand beyond the limited perspective of a single lifetime and begin to glimpse the greater journey of which this life is but one chapter. The awakening call is not the end, but rather the beginning of the soul's conscious preparation for its next great adventure. As the spiritual awakening deepens in the soul's final decade, a profound process naturally emerges, what many traditions call the life review. Unlike the instantaneous panoramic life review reported in near-death experiences, this version unfolds gradually, sometimes over years, as the soul methodically examines the tapestry of experiences it has gathered. Memories long buried in the subconscious mind begin to surface with remarkable clarity. Many elders report vivid recollections of childhood moments, conversations from decades past, or encounters that seemed insignificant at the time, but now reveal themselves as pivotal crossroads. This isn't merely nostalgia or the random firing of aging neural pathways. It is the soul's deliberate accounting of its journey. The life review process serves multiple spiritual purposes. First, it allows for integration of life experiences into a coherent whole. Events that once seemed random or even cruel may now be recognized as essential lessons or growth opportunities. The soul begins to perceive patterns and themes running through its incarnation, recurring relationships, challenges that presented themselves in different forms, and the slow unfolding of potential across decades. Second, this review provides opportunities for emotional and spiritual completion. Unresolved guilt, resentments, or regrets rise to consciousness not to torment, but to be finally addressed and released. Many find themselves drawn to make amends, write letters of forgiveness, or simply sit in meditation with difficult memories until peace is found. The urgency behind these reconciliations comes from the soul's deep knowing that unresolved emotional burdens will otherwise be carried beyond this lifetime. This accounting is not about judgment, but understanding. The soul examines not only what was done, but the intentions, limitations, and circumstances surrounding each action. Compassion for oneself and others naturally grows as the bigger picture comes into focus. Many report a profound sense of humility as they recognize how their understanding has evolved over a lifetime. Dreams play a significant role in this phase. Many elders experience what might be called accounting dreams, where they revisit significant moments or encounter people from their past. These dreams often carry a different quality than ordinary dreams, more vivid, more coherent, and leaving a lasting impression upon waking. They serve as processing spaces where the soul can safely encounter and integrate difficult memories or emotions. The life review isn't limited to actions and choices. It encompasses the soul's relationship with its gifts and purpose. There is often a reckoning with how well one's innate talents were expressed or suppressed, how authentically one lived, and whether opportunities for growth were embraced or avoided. This isn't about achievement in worldly terms, but about faithfulness to one's deeper nature and calling. Those who approach this phase with awareness often report a sense of wonder at the intricate design of their life journey. Even mistakes and hardships are recognized as essential components of growth. As one elder beautifully expressed, "I now see that the darkest chapters of my story contained the most important lessons. Nothing was wasted." This accounting process naturally leads to a sorting of what matters from what doesn't. Material possessions often lose their grip on the heart as the soul recognizes they cannot be carried forward. Many feel compelled to simplify their surroundings, distributing cherished items to loved ones and releasing the burden of excess. This simplification reflects an inner process of distilling life down to its essence. The life review also brings awareness of unfinished business, not in terms of worldly achievements, but soul-level completions. There may be relationships needing healing, creative expressions waiting to be manifested, or wisdom that longs to be shared. Many discover a renewed sense of purpose in addressing these completions, recognizing that they represent important closing chapters in the soul's journey. Throughout this accounting, there is a growing sense of the sacred within ordinary life. Mundane memories, a sunset shared with a loved one, the feel of a child's hand in one's own, moments of simple connection with others, often shine with unexpected luminosity. The soul recognizes that these seemingly small moments held the greatest spiritual richness all along. As this life review progresses, many report a subtle shift in perspective, from seeing themselves as the central character in their life story to recognizing themselves as part of a vast interconnected web of relationships and experiences. This expanded perspective brings both humility and peace, as the soul prepares to release its individual story and merge with something greater. As the soul continues its preparation during life's final decade, a natural process of purification begins to unfold. This purification occurs on multiple levels: physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, as the soul systematically lightens its burdens in preparation for transition. On the physical level, many experience a natural shift towards simplicity in diet and lifestyle. There is often a spontaneous aversion to heavy foods, excessive stimulation, or toxic environments. This isn't merely the body becoming more sensitive with age, but rather the soul's influence growing stronger. guiding its vessel toward greater purity. The dense energies that once sustained younger bodies become increasingly uncomfortable as the soul prepares to transition to a lighter state of being. Ancient wisdom traditions have long recognized this natural progression. Indigenous elders speak of becoming transparent in their final years. Eastern traditions describe the gradual refinement of prana, or life force energy. What science might attribute solely to aging metabolism, spiritual understanding recognizes as the soul's gentle recalibration of its physical vehicle. Emotionally, a parallel purification occurs. Heavy emotions that may have been carried for decades, resentments, grievances, disappointments, begin to feel increasingly burdensome. There arises an organic desire to release these weights, not through forced spiritual bypassing, but through genuine processing and integration. Many report spontaneous emotional releases, tears that come unbidden while remembering old wounds, or sudden waves of grief for losses never fully mourned. This emotional purification creates space for lighter states of being to emerge. Many elders speak of experiencing unexpected moments of joy, gratitude, or peace that seem to arise from nowhere. These aren't fleeting emotions, but rather glimpses of the soul's natural state becoming more accessible as emotional debris is cleared away. The mental aspect of purification often manifests as a natural detachment from rigid thought patterns and beliefs. Opinions and judgments that once seemed essential to identity begin to loosen their grip. There is a growing recognition of the limited nature of mental constructs and an opening to mystery and paradox. Many who were once certain about their worldviews find themselves holding their beliefs more lightly, making room for greater truth to emerge. Dreams and meditative states become increasingly potent during this phase. The boundary between waking consciousness and other states of awareness grows more permeable. Many report visionary experiences that cannot be easily dismissed. Encounters with departed loved ones, visits to realms that feel more real than ordinary reality, or moments of cosmic consciousness where all separation dissolves. These experiences serve as preparation for the soul's transition, creating familiarity with states of consciousness beyond the physical. Rather than frightening, these glimpses beyond the veil often bring comfort and reduce fear of death. As one elder beautifully expressed, "I no longer fear death because I've already visited what lies beyond and found it to be home." This phase often brings a profound shift in the experience of time. The future, which once stretched out with importance, naturally contracts as the soul's attention shifts toward timelessness. The past, having been processed through life review, loses much of its emotional charge. Increasingly, there is only the eternal now, moments of presence that contain their own completeness and perfection. Physical ailments and limitations, while challenging, often serve the soul's preparation in unexpected ways. They create natural periods of retreat and contemplation. They teach surrender and acceptance. They gradually loosen attachment to physical identity and activity. While modern medicine rightfully seeks to alleviate suffering, there is also wisdom in recognizing the spiritual function these limitations sometimes serve in the soul's preparation. Throughout this purification process, many experience what might be called bridge moments, times when they seem to exist simultaneously in physical reality and spiritual dimensions. A conversation might be interrupted by a sudden awareness of departed loved ones present in the room. Ordinary objects may temporarily reveal their luminous spiritual essence. The boundaries between worlds grow increasingly thin. These bridge experiences serve as practice for the ultimate transition. The soul learns to navigate between dimensions while still anchored in physical form, developing familiarity with what once seemed foreign or frightening. This explains why many in their final decade report decreasing fear of death, replaced by curiosity or even anticipation. The purification process culminates in a quality of presence that others often find remarkable. Those who have embraced this phase fully often exhibit a luminous quality, a transparency through which something greater than personality shines. Their words carry the weight of direct experience rather than borrowed knowledge. Their presence itself becomes a teaching and healing force for those around them. As the bridge between worlds strengthens, the soul begins to recognize that death is not an ending, but a continuation, the next natural step in an eternal journey of consciousness. The preparation is not for cessation, but for expansion into a greater mode of being that was always the soul's true home. In the culminating phase of the soul's preparation, attention naturally turns toward legacy, not merely what will be left behind in material terms, but the spiritual imprint that will continue to ripple outward long after physical departure. This concern with spiritual legacy reflects the soul's growing awareness of its place in the greater tapestry of existence. Unlike material inheritance, spiritual legacy is transmitted through presence, wisdom, values, and the invisible yet powerful resonance of a life lived authentically. Many in their final decade feel a gentle urgency to distill and share the essential wisdom gleaned from their journey. This sharing rarely takes the form of preaching or imposing views on others. Rather, it emerges organically through storytelling, through answering questions when asked, through living embodiment of the values one wishes to transmit. Family histories, once considered simply nostalgic reminiscences, reveal themselves as vessels of ancestral wisdom and healing. Many elders feel drawn to document these stories, not from ego, but from a deep knowing that these narratives carry codes of resilience, identity, and belonging that future generations will need. Whether through journals, recorded conversations, or carefully preserved photographs with handwritten notes, these legacy projects serve as bridges between time frames. Relationships take on new significance during this phase. There is often a natural sorting process as the soul gravitates toward connections that hold authentic spiritual value. Superficial social bonds may fall away, while deeper connections, even those maintained across great distances, are nurtured and strengthened. Many report a special affinity with young children during this time, recognizing in them the fresh spiritual energy that they themselves are preparing to return to. Creative expression often flourishes in unexpected ways during the final decade. Whether through art, music, writing, gardening, or simply the creative arrangement of one's living space, many discover new channels for expressing spiritual truths that transcend words. These creative acts serve dual purposes. They help the soul process and integrate its journey, while simultaneously creating artifacts that will carry its essence forward. Dreams begin to take on prophetic or preparatory qualities during this phase. Many report dreams of deceased loved ones who seem to be preparing a place or waiting to assist with the transition. Others dream of traveling to luminous landscapes that feel like destinations rather than mere dream settings. These night journeys serve as rehearsals for the final transition, allowing the soul to grow comfortable with realms it will soon enter more permanently. The emergence of unity consciousness marks a profound milestone in the soul's preparation. The boundaries that once seemed to separate self from others, humans from nature, or the physical from the spiritual gradually dissolve. Many report spontaneous experiences of feeling merged with all of creation, moments when they recognize that separation was always an illusion maintained by limited perception. This growing sense of oneness naturally alleviates fear of death, as the soul recognizes that nothing real can be lost in the transition. Physical changes accelerate during this final phase, yet those who have embraced the spiritual preparation often relate to these changes differently than those who resist. Rather than fighting against the body's natural completion process, there is a graceful surrender and even appreciation for the wisdom of physical decline. The body, having served its purpose as vessel for the soul's earthly journey, is allowed its own dignified completion. Time perception continues to shift dramatically. Many report that ordinary time seems to both compress and expand simultaneously. Days may pass quickly, yet moments of presence take on an eternal quality. This paradoxical experience serves as preparation for the timeless realms the soul will soon enter. The future, which once loomed with importance, gives way to an ever-deepening now. The approach toward transition brings a natural completion of karmic patterns. Relationships that carried unfinished business find resolution, sometimes in unexpected ways. Lessons that have recurred throughout life present themselves one final time, offering opportunity for mastery. Many report a sense of patterns completing, circles closing, and narratives finding their natural conclusion. In the very final stages of preparation, many experience what might be called a simplification of being. External interests fall away naturally. Social engagement becomes more selective. Even thoughts become fewer and more essential. This simplification isn't impoverishment, but refinement. The soul distilling itself to its most essential nature in preparation for rebirth into expanded consciousness. Those who have worked consciously with their preparation often experience a remarkable phenomenon in their final days, a tangible presence of grace and assistance from beyond ordinary reality. Many report sensing invisible helpers, experiencing unusual light phenomena, or feeling enveloped in profound peace that transcends circumstance. These experiences confirm what the soul has been preparing to discover, that we are never alone, and that skilled assistance awaits us for the final transition. As the threshold of transition approaches, those who have embraced their spiritual preparation often exhibit a luminous quality that affects everyone around them. Family members report feeling both grief and an inexplicable peace in their presence. There is a palpable sense of something magnificent unfolding, even amidst the physical body's decline. The final transition itself, when approached through conscious preparation, becomes not an ending, but a birth. The soul's graduation from the limited perspective of a single lifetime into the expanded awareness that was always its true nature. In the words of a wise elder who documented his preparation, "I now understand that what we call death is simply consciousness expanding beyond the limitations we once believed defined us. Nothing real is lost. Everything essential continues." And so the soul completes its earthly chapter, carrying forward the essence of all it has learned, loved, and become, ready to continue its eternal journey of growth, service, and ever-expanding consciousness. If this exploration of the soul's final preparation resonated with you, I invite you to join our spiritual community. Subscribe now to receive weekly wisdom on life's most profound transitions and the sacred journey we all share. Leave a comment below sharing your own experiences or insights about the soul's preparation. Your words may be exactly what another traveler needs to hear today. Remember, in sharing our spiritual journey, we illuminate the path for others. Subscribe, comment, and let's continue this sacred conversation together.